say as young people, many years ago, we thought that Nigeria is a country that is very rich, not just rich in culture and tradition and with all the languages that we have, we're rich in talent, young people, creativity. So above all the news around Nigeria about how young people are into all sorts, as young people within this same generation, how do we change this narrative? What do we want to say? How do we say it? So that's how we found Kiniso.
Kiniso, what's the platform that you're using to propagate these ideas?
So our platform is basically the creative industry, film and theater, and that we have done from what I would say successfully, and we are still pushing more. We want the world to hear our voices. We have something that we know that the world needs to hear. We are telling our own story, original story. So we want the world to hear us. We want the world to see us from a different perspective. I'll just quickly chip this in. We did a project called Imagination TV, and it was all about how do we see each other. So when you call Nigeria, how are we seen outside? Some people think Africa is a country. Some people don't even know Nigeria exists. So we are always out there telling these stories.
Okay. So now, Joshua, why did you guys choose that platform, the platform of theater, of film, of acting and all that? Why?
So I would like to say theater. I mean, firstly, Kiniso is more of a theater organization. We do quite a lot with documentaries and all of that. Still, when you watch all our works, it's still from theater. And why did we choose theater? Because theater is where the live action is. There is no cut. It has a power of its own. It provokes you, the audience, into doing something. Someone is in front of you, acting in a very intense way. You need that feedback. That person needs to feed on you while you're feeding on the person at the same time. The synergy that it creates. So that's why we chose the platform of theater and film and documentaries.
All right. So both of you have backgrounds in theater arts.
Yes.
So you're classmates or something?
Okay. So, I mean, yes, we're classmates, and I like to tell the story how we started Kiniso.
Kiniso now.
In 2010, thereabout, I was in Unilag, Creative Arts Department. I came to study theater. And I had tried this years before then. I was in UI, theater department. I left there, went to LASU, theater department. It didn't work out until I got to Unilag. And we were about 150 in my class.
That's a large class.
Large class. Few months or about a year later, I realized that every other person, all 149 people, had come to Unilag to study something else. Either to study law or philosophy or mass comm or something else. Only one
original theater arts
student. So because they didn't meet the cutoff, the usual thing, they were all dumped into the department, and it was obvious the way they did things, the way they handled the assignments and practical works. And for me also, even though many of them...
Stop. How come you didn't know he was a student?
Okay, so Joshua is not one person that you look for in class. So for me, I didn't know he was even a student.
You thought he was probably
I thought he was
a graduate assistant?
Yes, so someone that just come and work with lecturers. Actually, yes, so that's it.
What was in that bag?
Everything. My toothbrush, my clothes for the next few days, soap, food, books. Yes,
Why
just
did
anything.
you live like that?
Well, I didn't know. So I enjoyed carrying my bag. And because of the nature of my work, I would probably leave school to another film set, to another rehearsal. So I'll end what I need to do maybe around 11 p.m. or 12 a.m. midnight that same day. And I can't go back home, so I just have to crash somewhere around or that same place. So it was just really easy for me to get things done.
And your parents didn't complain?
I wasn't even living with my parents. I had left my parents since about age 13, 14, thereabout.
Oh, really? So it was easy for you to just be yourself?
Yes, it was. It was.
No qualms.
No qualms at all. They also didn't know what was going on. I had left my dad's house because he didn't want me to study theater. He kicked
Hey, I
against
wanted
it.
to hear that now.
He didn't want me to study theater. You know,
What did he want you to study?
He wanted me to be an accountant.
Oh.
So he did all he could. But also, actually, my passion for theater, my passion for telling stories, came from my mom. My mom then, even though a very devout Christian, but she was a choir mistress, a fashion designer. She played the instrument. So everything my mom did, I learned because we were also very close. And I still do.
Wow.
I make a lot of things. I can make soap. They laugh at me sometimes that what can't I do? I make so many things. I can do so I can make money from so many things. Okay. But then I would go with my mom to the village. She used to attend the different festivals, the Shango festival. Her father was a Shango worshipper and was the Lord. So he would pull tricks and magic, and I fell in love with the whole color, costume, music, dance, the gun shooting. Everything was just really interesting to me, and that was where the passion for telling stories, for acting, for performing.
We will come back to you and your mom, because you just revealed something that's very, very interesting and key in the process of development of a person. Right. Now, and if you're...
What was your original interest? My original interest was law. I came to study law, and unfortunately, I always say fortunately, I fall short 2 cut-off marks. I think 3 off law. I was angry. I was pissed because at the time I could study any other course in the University of Lagos, even medicine, apart from law. So I said, I'm going to do JAMB again. I need to study law. And they said, come, this guy, no waste time, now high cut-off, go find something to study.
Okay.
So I went back, I said, okay, I'll do a change of course. And they convinced me that 1 year you can go back and study law if you don't like it. And I found myself there.
And 1 year in?
And 1 year in,
you
and
were
I'm
fully
like,
in.
okay, I don't think that this young man can be serious in court anyway. So, and when I saw him, he had this drive, he had this passion, like, he made me believe you can actually make a living out of being a theater practitioner.
That's good.
That was what I saw. I'm like, okay, you have the fire. You know what? Let me join you. Let me bond with you. Let's do this together.
That was to burn or to bond.
Yeah.
All right, we'll take a break here now. When we come back, we'll resume our talk with these 2 gentlemen who are shining the light on a very glorious path, I believe. Welcome back. It's still Timeless Conversations on this channel. My 2 guests, 2 wonderful young men. Let me simply call them Joshua and Inefioke, right?
Yes.
I got that right?
Yes.
Very good. Before we took the break, you were talking about your mom and her influence on you when it comes to the development of the theater. Now, how were you able to balance those different belief systems that you saw?
For me, it wasn't totally different. Firstly, I was in love. I was all out for the fun and the depth of it. The music in church, I would sing, I would play the harmonica, I would perform, act in drama, work and with people, with other young people. Same thing in the village. The people would work together, would sing together, make clothes, and there was the performance bit. So for me, it was more about the performance and the engagement, how the people work together to have fun.
Say something about making clothes.
Yes, they made clothes. They made their costumes. Okay. All the hunters and I remember I used to meet with some of the Unifas. Then they used to make their own clothes, tying the beads, dye some of them. And it was fun, it was entertaining.
So it was like a hands-on thing for you?
Yes, it was a hands-on thing for me. And I wasn't I didn't totally understand the depth of
There was some
the
mystery
difference,
to what
the
they
mystery,
were-
yes,
Yeah.
and the depth of, okay, this is Christianity, this is, it was the same thing. I only remember that then my dad didn't, used to kick against my mom taking me there because he saw how engrossed
Enthusiastic you-
and yes, I was with this thing. I didn't know there had to be, you had to choose one, Christianity or this. But I think on the long run, both have built me. I mean, I believe I'm a Christian, but at the same time, I understand culture and I love it, and I use my culture to tell religious stories sometimes.
So many years after, do you still relate with your granddad? and
Yes,
his
I mean,
people?
even though they are all late now.
Yes.
But yes, I really do. There's an aspect of them in everything that I do.
That you do. That's very good. Now, he was the one that brought you into all of this. But since you got into it, what has it been like for you?
Since I got into it, for me, I tell people that I couldn't have made it as a lawyer.
Wow.
Yes, I tell people that because for me, this is an expression. It allows you to, what I would say, impersonate any character that you want to be. Joy is what I value the most.
Okay.
Yes, it's a place to hear my voice. It's a place for my opinion to be heard.
Okay. Now, there's something you guys have said you've done about training about 10,000 young men. How did you do that?
Okay, so when we say we've trained over 10,000,
Yeah.
but not just in Nigeria. I mean, I think if we were to count in Nigeria, maybe about 5 to 10,000 just alone. But we've worked in other countries. We've worked in several African countries, Rwanda, coming to 14.
When does that hold?
It holds a lab. So there's Bariga Lab, Oregon Lab, Ikeja Lab, where we teach young people on hands-on skills, photography, animation, and different things. We also teach business of creativity. So it's quite a lot that we do. And we work with communities as well on our advocacy project, our theater for development. We research a lot. We work with some of the NGOs, and it's quite a large community.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about your Bariga experience. How did you, coming from your background, and then ending up in Bariga?
It was,
What was that like?
that's also part of how the second bit of how Kennesaw was formed.
Yeah.
I'd always been curious about, asking questions and wanting to know things. So I found myself in Bariga. I like to, express it that way. I had lived in Ogba and then to Alagbado. And even that area of Alagbado, my father built his house. It still felt like we were living in our own interesting space. We had everything. And then I went to Bariga, smelling, kids. And then Bariga was very, one of the most violent places in Lagos. You would go to the downtown, you would go to down Ilaje or Sosa. You'd find young people with guns and, so on. It was terrible for me. I joined a theater company there, and we were always in constant battle, constant confrontation with the
street talk.
The street, with the streets, and then with the artists. We were the only people who could face them, we had no guns, but we would take our performance to the street or to their base and then begin to dance and begin to do some poetry. And they would get angry, scream. They couldn't harm us because while they were trying to recruit some young people, we were also trying to recruit some young people. And that's how the art in Bariga has blossomed so much. And yes, in my quest to wanting to say something, to ask questions, that's how we formed Kennesaw to say, what do we want to say? We want to say that Nigerians, young people in Nigeria can do better, can say, can be bold enough to look into the eyes of any leader and say, you're not doing it right, you have to do it right. How do we do that? Through theater.
No, the advocacy that grew out of that has led you to collaborate with a lot of NGOs and civil society organizations. There's a particular play that you guys did recently.
Talk and Do.
Yeah,
Join
something like
body.
that. Yeah.
Talk and Do was at Alliance Francaise in Lagos. It was also in Kano and Abuja. It was supposed to go to Edo and other states, but we couldn't due to COVID.
Okay.
With Talk and Do, we were dealing with addressing the issues of impunity, corruption, and accountability amongst the leaders. So we brought in leaders from the police commission, from the police force, from the judiciary, from the Nigerian Bar Association, from other CSOs, from the community as well. We brought them all into a room, made this theater piece called Talk and Do. And for us, just the way the name sounds, it is what you say, do it, practice what you preach. So, and then we brought them, performed this piece that had to do with how they're treating issues of people with disability, issues of police brutality, the deteriorating judicial system, and all of these issues, real issues that happen. So we performed for them, and afterwards put them all in groups, including the artists, to have a conversation, to discuss what's the feedback, what's the commitment, what are we committing to do after this, what do we want to do better.
Okay. Now, when you look at such a performance, the curious mind in the public would say it's convenient for young people to point accusing fingers at the leadership. What are young people themselves doing? There's so much Yahoo around. There's so much ritual killings around. There's so much of violence motivated by this get-rich-quick attitude. What would you say as a young person?
These issues, the issue of Yahoo ritual killings, I don't think and I don't believe they are issues that can be exhausted so quickly, because the root cause sometimes are just something that they are quite disturbing. Sometimes you look at the background, where some of these people are coming from, and then you look at the pressure that the social media is putting so many young people through, and these are some of the things that has driven so many young people. It has driven them. They say, you know what, I want to get rich quick. For me, I say it's greed. Like the popular saying, you want to chill with the big boys, you want to roll with the big boys.
Yes.
I mean, these are the things that drive most young people. When I was 18, I never dreamt of driving, 504.
Yeah.
I never dreamt of driving a 504. It was beautiful from afar,
Yeah.
and I looked at it and I appreciated it.
Yeah.
But all I knew is that the time was coming when I would drive a car,
Yes.
but not at that age. So what young people fail to do now is they fail to follow process. My father taught me to enjoy process. He said something that has never left me from when we were young. He said, it is better for you when you're writing an exam. He said it's better for you to fail and fail honorably than for you to cheat and pass. So for each time in the university when I did a course and I failed, and people say, what did you? I said I failed it. I'll do it again. So that for me is a lesson that has and will never leave me as a person.
Sure.
Yes. So for me, I think these pressures in the society are those things that are driving young people. Process. Young people now don't want to follow process. They don't want to endure the process.
You know, carefully, when you say something like pressure from society, it sounds as though the home were being pushed out of that equation. What is society without the home?
Very true. The first place a child learns anything is the home.
Yeah.
I learned, my behaviors were built from my home. So the home is the first place that children learn, that young people learn. And it's so sad that some of these young people are put under pressure from the home. So many times I have a nephew that I've raised for a long time. And many times I would say to the mom, don't ever compare your son to someone else. Your son is your son.
Yeah.
If he gets this and that grade, he's your son. Don't tell him that, see, your friend is getting that grade and you're no. this is his grade. So whenever he comes back with his grades and I'm like, okay, you got this, you got this, you got this, I say, wow, fantastic, this is good. But I know you can do better. That's so. Let's strike a deal, make it better. I do not ever try to compare him with someone else.
So that's positive pressure.
Yes.
The negative one will come in the area of
It's destructive.
Money.
Why? Yes. So why not be like this? So when young people see that, I mean, some parents. I have a friend whose mom would curse on her when she needs money. Just would do anything for her to give her money, and she often says, "So this woman know how to get money." So those pressures most of the time would lead people to doing what they would not normally want to do.
There was a story I read of Professor Sam Aluko of blessed memory, who returned to Nigeria with his PhD and all that, got a job, and he went home with a car. And everybody in his village celebrated him and all that. In the deep of night, he said that his father and mother called him and said, "Where did you get money to buy that car?" And he now smiled and told them, "Oh, that car is on loan, that he bought it on loan." These days, people buy cars and nobody's questioning them. Young people, would you take a car home and your dad will welcome you?
But, I mean, let me say this. If I take a car home right now, my father, if he were to be alive, would still question me. Yes, he would still question me like, okay, so what do you do? What he's trying to do is, he's not saying that I cannot own a car now, but he's trying to vet, what do you do? Your job, is it able to get you this lifestyle at this particular point in time? But these are the things that some parents don't do. Some parents don't care. Our society right now, we've come to a stage where, you know what, just make it. We don't care how you make it. All we want to do is we want to celebrate you. Now the latest big boy be that.
So Joshua, where does that lead us?
It leads us into destruction.
But we don't want to be destroyed.
Yes, we don't want to be destroyed.
So what is Kininso going to do?
Kininso is actually doing a lot.
Yeah.
We're hoping to do more. With support, we believe we can do more. We've, over the years, touched almost everything that affects us as a people. Aside treating the subject of malaria, of cancer, we did a research for about 2 years and came up with a script and a play and some short campaign on a work called Sniper. And Sniper focused on depression, mental health, suicide. Why young people would rather just die rather than, I mean, I don't think when my parents or the older generation during their time, when they fail or when they're unable to buy the big cars, I mean, even though they were not even, the race wasn't even about to buy the big cars then, the race was to impress the family, impress the society, be the light of that, of that society. But they wouldn't die, they wouldn't jump off a cliff or into the river. But now, so Sniper tried to deal with the issues, and we met with families of people who have committed suicide or victims, and it was quite an intense project. So we touched the area of Sniper to let young people know that you're doing fine, choose life first, hard work, do not devalue hard work. Take responsibility. You fail, you try again, you move on. So with Sniper, we've done that, and with Join Body, Join Body was Sorry and Join Body. We had a performance called Sorry before the election in 2019, and we had Join Body after the election. What Sorry did was, Sorry went to different stops in Lagos.
Stops? You mean bus stops?
Bus stop, yes. Ilaje bus stop. Obalende, Yanoba. We kept going from place to place around Lagos to perform to young people, market women, young and old, to let them know that their vote is their power. Even though you think you're old, Nigeria cannot give you anything. for those coming, they still need you to vote. So for young and old, we really interacted with a lot of street boys, Agberu, under the bridge. We were able to convince some of them. It was quite impressive working with them. We joined body as well. We also looked at the aftermath of the election. Why violence? Why is that the way? Why do we, in the name of political party, break apart? You know, how can we come together to decide and say, this person we've elected into office, you must be accountable. We must, as we were saying earlier, we must have your phone number. We must know what you're doing. We must be able to monitor the work that you've promised to do for us as a people.
No, the interesting thing is that on the one hand, society complains about young people feeling so entitled. On the other hand, the young people complain about the older generation, that they don't want to leave the scene. But can you say that the younger generation is prepared to take over?
No, we're not. We're not prepared to take over, and it is still very, it is pronounced in our body language, our attitude. We have a friend called Effective. He's a radio presenter. Effective now is vying for the, I think, House of Rep office, and he's finding it difficult to even bring his own friends to understand his vision and to support him. And we keep saying politics is for the old people, it's a dirty game. It will keep being dirty until we get involved. But to answer the question, we're not ready. And why do I think we're not ready? I think we're not ready because what we consume does not reflect a generation that wants change. What we consume in terms of content, in terms of in terms of content, in terms of our social behavior, even the economic behavior, you know, it does not reflect it. We still reflect Nigeria is not working for me. The government has done nothing for me. So I either jackpot or I stay here and make it reach anyhow. And with that attitude, we really cannot do anything.
I totally agree with him. Young people, we are not ready. And the reason why I'm saying we are not ready is if we take a look at the lifestyle and we want to separate generations from one generation to another, now the values that our parents had as a generation is totally different from what we now see as values. So today, our lifestyle, we've all thrown away our values to social media. So the social media instructs most young people on what to do. And for me, I'm scared because I have little ones, younger ones, nephew, and I'm asking myself, is this what they are going to come up to see? We've seen 18 years, 17, 19, wanting to drive a car, wanting to use the kinds of phones.
Well, he can drive. They can drive a car if they have access to the car.
Yes, but they want to buy. They want to buy a house. So I had a friend. A sad story. We left the village together, came to Lagos. He went to school, studied electrical and electronic engineering, University of Lagos. And when he came in, he was fascinated by the lifestyle. He saw young boys driving tinted cars. And the next thing was that he wanted to drive a tinted car. Wow. I was satisfied trekking to school. I was glad doing it. But he wanted to drive a car. And today he's no more.
No more.
So he bored for 2 years, like they say in our time, and he left the scene. So for me, this is a problem that our generation
But how do we solve it? It can't be all that gloomy. There are still young people who are hardworking, who are dedicated, and who are committed to making a difference in society. Seems we're not hearing so much about them.
that's where I think for a generation that is prepared or that wants to show that we are prepared, we need to begin to celebrate those people, the people doing small things. We know a few of them, a lot of people don't. And it's not about the big things, it's about the
Small things, yes.
the small many things. We know Isaac in Ajegule, we know Shiwa Obajo in Bariga, who started a free school.
Yeah.
He built by the seaside, he bought the land, I think about 250 per plot. He bought about 6 plots with wood, and him and his friends, they built the school. And all the children within that community, when you're driving on Third Mainland, that, you know, the wooden part you see of Bariga, every child, now they have over 300 to 400 children from primary 1 till JS3, SS3 presently. And okay, actually last year some of them wrote JAM and WAEC, and they came out in flying colors.
That's the kind of story we should be telling.
Exactly.
Hold on. We'll take a break now, and when we're back, we'll continue that. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Timeless Conversations. Before the break, we were talking about celebrating the members of the younger generation who are making positive waves. And you were talking about the free school. That's one Mr. Awubajo.
School, yes, Shiwa Obajo
Okay.
in Bariga. The school has about 300 to 400 children, and Shiwa has had to regularly find a way to raise funds to pay the teachers and for the children to attend the school for free. And they now the government, the Lagos State government, has seen the good work they're doing, and they're looking at ways to help. And there's also a Bolore initiative who built Chelsea Art Center and teaching every young person that's interested within initiative painting, adire making for free.
Really?
Them to exhibit, also looking for platforms for them to exhibit anything they make and get it bought by people, and then thereby making money. So
Now were created by those young people who had the inspiration to want to do something. Now, the inspiration you guys have is being expressed in the area of advocacy, of theater, of the moving production that you move from one point to the other. However, what about getting involved in politics? Why are young people running away from politics? Why?
I think it's still that thing of that question of what has the government done for me? They fail to remember that the government is you and me, whether we like it or not. You know, call it whatever you want to call it. The government is still us. And until we can speak together, get engaged, and that's the way forward. No time for fence sitters anymore or back sitters. We want change. You're sure that you want to do something good. You're sure that you have great ideas. Step forward. Let people, and don't expect to be supported at that point. You know, but keep trying. That's the thing. Everything in life is about, you know, trying again and again and again. But as we've discussed earlier, our generation, we don't have that focus. We don't have that ability to concentrate.
Yes, I was going to say, okay, so do you have a PVC?
Oh yes, I do have my PVC.
Okay.
And a long time ago, I changed my mind about politics being a dirty game.
Oh, I see.
Yes.
Tell me the story.
About even if I vote or I don't vote, the person who's going to win will still win. So I changed my mind a long time ago, and it took me to the point that I left my house. I walked for like 30 minutes just to go and vote.
That's a very long trek.
Yes, I did it just to go and vote. And when my friends heard the story, they were like, Kushel, patriotic Nigeria, change maker. And I'm like, you know what? If we are all going to come out and say, we are going to vote, it's going to make rigging an election very difficult.
Yes.
When people come out and vote,
Yes.
it makes rigging very difficult.
Yes.
But that's one point that we don't understand. And for young people going into politics, we always have the ideology that politics is a dirty game. So if you don't want to play dirty, don't go into politics. And this has also been a mindset that has been spread around even Christians and Muslims.
Yes.
People that say, oh, we are Puritans. We don't want to soil our hands in a dirty game. And I'm so glad that right now we've realized that we have made a mistake.
Yeah.
If you want to change things, then you need to be in the gathering where decisions are made.
Yes.
So if we don't get into politics, how do we even want to change these things in the first place? How do we even want to choose our own leaders? Someone was saying, oh, thank God I didn't vote. I said, thank God me, I voted. I might vote and my candidate does not win, the person I voted for.
Yeah.
But I have one thing. I voted for someone. That is my point. That is what I want to take home.
Yes. So now, if we mobilize to get young people involved in politics, what should be the drive? For instance, the impact of social media was felt during the recent NSAS protests that took place majorly were firstly in Lagos, Abuja, and then spread to other cities or states in Nigeria. The mobilization was done majorly through and by social media. But the coordination of, okay, what to do beyond the protest failed. Because if you talk to government, if you talk to anybody who is in leadership, you call attention. They must have people to relate to. That didn't follow. A political party could have emerged from that protest. So as young people, what kind of examples can be set for your generation, by your generation?
So I would say that passion, that will and drive we had during the NSAS protest, if we continuously have that for another 8 years, then this real change will start. Our generation, we must understand that in everything we do, we must be willing to compromise. We must be willing to stoop to conquer. We held the nation for a week or more, and we could not make anything out of it. Why? Because we wanted to be louder than we were already. For me, at that point, I was saying, my opinion was, we could have gotten, we can't get the presidency, we can't get it. Not because we can't, but because we're not prepared for it.
Yeah.
So, it was always a good example. But at least, if our generation had asked for seats in the House of Rep at that time, if we had asked for if we had taken major decisions, if we had asked for local government seats to, some local governments around Nigeria, because really that's what the change is. The change is not totally up there as far as I'm concerned. The change is the local government chairman who's doing interesting things in his community. So in Lagos, if we have 20 local governments or 15 filled up with young people, that's a great achievement.
Young people who are working.
Young people who are working, who have a vision.
Because there are young people who have already joined the old bandwagon.
Exactly. So I think that's the way to go. The way to go is not to bid for the biggest. The way to go is to bid for the many small, the councillorship, the House of Rep, the House of Assembly. That's what we need to start from, because those are the people actually making the law. Those are the people controlling that immediate environment. So for me, that's my recommendation.
That's what's yours.
For me, my recommendations would be that young people should learn to support people for a cause, not for my cause.
Okay.
So,
Or what's the need for me?
yes, what's in it for me? If we are going to be working to build a nation, let's build a nation. For instance, I don't want to support a Joshua because when he gets there, he's going to give me all the contracts in the states. I want to support him because when he gets there, he's going to do what is right for the states.
Yep.
So that would be something. So I don't have expectations that, oh, I supported him, I gave him all my support because I wanted this and that from him. I'm supporting him for the greater good. And then young people should also learn to use the social media to their advantage. We have used the social media for every other thing right now, and for more negative things than positive things. I think we should be able to use the social media now for more positive things.
Yeah.
The social media is a platform for people to converse, air your opinions, and all of that. Why not use it positively? If I'm to run for a position now, I have a platform of the social media to campaign. I have the platform of social media to tell people, this is my dream, this is my vision, this and this is what I want to do. So let's use that platform well. Let's not abuse it.
I'm smiling now because of what you just said and realizing that a lot of people on social media make noise. Many of them don't have PVCs. And whether we like it or not, we need to keep up the campaign for PVCs. Because that's when the statement, your vote is your power,
Yes.
makes sense. You can't vote without a PVC. And many young people deliberately are not enrolling to have their PVCs. Are you, is Keninso doing anything in that regard?
Yes, we're doing quite a lot though. Of course, we have our PCs, and jokingly last week at the office, I was saying, how can we, I want to create a TV show. How can we gather people that are our own personal people, about 1,000 people, to get their PVC and vote through a prank, because we watch prank videos everywhere. And then I was just thinking randomly like, okay, at least if I begin to count people from my church, people I know from all sorts, everywhere, I should be able to get at least 500. Like, I want to have a meeting, and they will come. Have your PVC. So these are some of the things we're thinking of. We're also thinking of creating the ideal Nigeria, the ideal future, because we know that that's the power of storytelling. Tell people for something over time, let them hear it over time, let them see it over time. It begins to register in their consciousness. How can we create a campaign where we no longer show the sad Nigeria, the pain in Nigeria? How can we begin to show police as what they should be? How can we begin to show our schools, the education system, as what it should be? How can we show in pictures, in stories, how can we show justice being delivered on time? So these are some projects that we're thinking of that would help young people to change the mindset, to change their perspective of things, and take charge of the political space.
Now, you said something about there being money in theater, in the dramatic arts and all that. How do you rate the coming of Netflix to the Nigerian space? How? The impact you think it's had or it's having and could even further have on the income?
Okay, so I would say it's a good development. We should always expect change to come. And why I'm saying it's a good development is coming into this space, we now have the opportunity to meet these people one-on-one. And if I have a work that is good. I now have a platform. I can always run around and try to get them to see it. Yeah. It might be difficult, but just the fact that they are there gives me that hope that, guys, you know what? Let's just keep doing this thing. Yeah. One day, they are going to see it. So for me, it's a good development. And of course, it's good money. It's good money for the pocket.
Are you planning anything towards being able to tap into the Netflix money?
Yes.
Or let's say Netflix opportunity?
Opportunity. Yeah. Yes, actually, since 2020, we've been talking to a distributor who's also on the Netflix, who's also a Netflix consultant, who sources for films and so on. And we haven't, not that we haven't found the ideal story yet, but we personally, I would say, I don't know what it is. We have great stories. We have great work. We have great stories, scripts already, stories. But maybe the time hasn't come. Yeah. That's how I believe. That's how I say it. That when the time is right, the right content will find the right platform.
That's what he said about process again. That it takes time. Yes. You prepare for it. When the opportunity comes, then to say it in the parlance of the younger generation, you blow.
I just want to say this in light of this, what we're discussing. Maybe it would make sense or help anybody to understand what we mean better. Since we started Kineso in 2011, our dream has always been to, yes, tell stories across Nigeria, but be that organization that would employ 90% theater graduates and take them around the world, make money, get exposed, gain more knowledge, and so on. And from the first year up until the third or fourth year, we kept trying, we kept contacting universities abroad that have theater departments, and it wasn't working. And the first opportunity, second opportunity was slammed this time. It didn't work. And after the second one, while planning for the third one, we told ourselves, we discussed, we said, this will be the last time. This will be the last time. And indeed it was the last time. And we moved it to the point where the embassies in Nigeria are the ones who then look for opportunities for us abroad to say, we found this or we know these guys. We want you to come do something with them. So the process never fails.
That's the power of process, yes. Right? And taking your time preparing, not giving up at all. Now, with the experience you've had now, you started some almost 11 years ago, and respectively between you, each one of you will be anything between 30-something and 40, right? In about 10, 15 years' time, you'll be about 50 or a little older. They'll start calling you old man. What do you see yourselves doing in the next 10, 15 years?
I see myself still telling stories, but most importantly, teaching.
Okay.
I apologize for using this word. I hate the way the system of teaching and training in Nigeria. It's like a war zone. So that's why I train, that's why I facilitate workshops quite a lot, from team bonding to any other thing. In 10, 15 years' time, I want to keep training, I want to keep developing people in different fields, not just arts, in business of creativity, in different art forms. People need to be able to not just communicate effectively, but through the arts, through this training, know where they want to go, know what is right for them.
All right, so Anifa?
I'm not going too far from that. Yeah. And the reason why I would say teaching, training people is so far we are products of people that have gone ahead of us, even though we don't have the opportunity to really learn from as much people as we would love to. That's why I would say teaching. I want to be able to open my doors and have 50 people, 100 people who say, you know what, I actually learned from this guy, and he's a great guy. And for me, it's a ripple effect. When you teach people, you are giving them a part of yourself that you don't get back. And when you teach them, they teach others who teach others. So it's a ripple effect.
So that's like you're both committed to giving back to society.
Yes.
For the opportunities you have had.
Yes.
Before we go, I'd like to say to both of you that you're such an inspiration.
Thank you.
You are. And you show that there is really hope for our country and society. But I want each one of you to look into the camera and say to your generation what you want them to do. Joshua?
Okay. Take responsibility. Take responsibility. Know that if you have a sister, if you have a brother, they are looking up to you, and you can't do things for them because you want it in return. So if you open up that mindset and do it for everybody, for the greater good, then things will change. Those things you want will change.
And Yefia?
Wow. I would say to my generation, life is a process. So endure the process or enjoy it and wait for your time. Your time will surely come. And don't ever forget, in whatever you do, a good name is better than riches.
Yes, and it's been a wonderful time with these two gentlemen, Joshua Labi and Aniefio Iyang of Kinnisaw Concept Productions, right?
Yes.
I have enjoyed myself, and you have really lifted up my spirits and hopes about the younger generation in Nigeria. Until the next time on this program, it's been nice having you. Thank you.
Thank you.
There is no voting on social media. To vote, you would require a permanent voter's card. To get your PVC, visit cvr.inecnigeria.org. Create your account with a valid email address and start the registration process. An activation link will be sent to you. Click on the link and activate your account. Fill out the form, pick and submit a convenient date and time for your biometrics. Print the application slip, which should have your QR code. On the appointed date, go to the nearest INEC office for your biometric capturing. Thereafter, you will get a registration slip to pick your permanent voter's card when ready. Get your PVC today. This message is from PlusTvAfrica. Good afternoon. I am Messi Bopo. This is the news brief. The federal government has condemned the attack on its citizens. It says it will continue to support victims of Abuja-Kaduna train attack and ensure that services are hindered. Vice President Professor Yemi Osinbajo gave this assurance as he flew into Kaduna following the attack on a train which has left many killed. Our reporter files in this report in the studio.
The federal government has condemned the Kaduna-Abuja train attack by terrorists, calling it barbaric. The Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, who cut short his earlier engagement in Lagos to visit the site of the attack, said the government was doing everything possible to end insurgency. In company of the Governor of Kaduna State, Nasir El-Rufai, the Vice President proceeded to see victims of the attack at 44 Army Reference Hospital and St. Gerald Hospital.
It is evident that there is no, it's not as if there's any real benefit, even for that. So we remain resolute in our commitment to ensuring that these sorts of things are prevented and that as quickly as possible services are restored and that the type of safety measures that are required are put in place. We've been round to see some of the victims of a very tragic incident, but and many of them, of course, are recovering very well. And we're very happy to see that the state government has taken on the responsibility of medical assistance to them and ensuring that they are comfortable and that they are well. And the federal government will support in every possible way to ensure that these people who just, innocent people just traveling from Kaduna to Abuja, just doing their regular business, are assaulted in a cowardly way, in the dead of night, and late at night. I think it's condemnable, and we must all condemn it and resolve to ensure that these sorts of things will not happen again.
The Chief of Defense Staff, Lieutenant General Lucky Irabo, and the Inspector General of Police, Usman Alkali, also visited the scene of the deadly attack.
This is dastardly act, and I'd like to assure you that those behind it will not go unpunished. Currently, the men are on their chase, and they will certainly pay the price.
Meanwhile, the figure of those kidnapped is still sketchy, as family members of those on board the train besiege the station in a search.
It's a very tragic situation now. I'm not the only one here. If you check around, you can see that there are a lot of people waiting for maybe they will be able to get any relevant information concerning
terrorist enclaves with a view to restoring peace and stability in the country. The senators called on President Muhammadu Buhari.
Note that these latest attacks are aimed at instilling fear in the people and destroying the economies of our local communities. It is disheartening that these enemies of the people are getting emboldened by the day. They are becoming more brazen. These blood-curdling bonfires have no regard for human life. They have no place in civilized society.
A cross-section of lawmakers who lamented that Kaduna had become the new theater of insecurity concluded that terrorists have declared war against Nigerians.
Mr. President, we shouldn't allow this situation to continue, where we lay back, they come to attack, then we repel, we try to do damage control and the like. I think it is time for these terrorists to be seriously taken as a national security threat.
Mr. President, since we're inaugurated here, discussions on the security of our country has taken a large chunk of our discussion here. And I believe and feel that it is time enough for the appropriate authorities to have taken decisive actions to address the security in our country.
In Kaduna in person, Kaduna town and Kaduna state as a whole, no day they don't kill over 300 in a day. Every blessed day, no day that they don't kill souls, more than 300.
The Senate accordingly urged the Army and the Air Force to carry out sustained bombardment of terrorist enclave with a view to flushing them out and restoring peace and stability to the communities. The House of Representatives has tasked security agencies to need to put together a task force to check and repel attacks on the nation's airport and railways. This followed a motion of urgent national importance brought by Honorable Nomilin Nje at the plenary following recent incident of terrorist attack on the Kaduna International Airport and the Rigasa end of Abuja-Kaduna standard gauge within the space of 4 days. Emmanuel Ehinije compiles this report.
These two incidents occurred within a space of 4 days, and federal lawmakers do not find the development acceptable. Honorable Nolim Naji is representing Nkanu East West Federal Constituency of Anambra State. Debating the motion, he said 12 persons were abducted by the terrorists that attacked the Kaduna International Airport on the 25th of March, with one person, a security personnel with Nigerian Airspace Management Agency (NAMA), reportedly killed. This is despite efforts by the military to repel the attack, noting that if something drastic is not done urgently, it may embolden terrorists to attack more airports in the country.
Definitely, if it happens in other places, if they start attacking our airports, the implication is that even the international airlines will stop coming to Nigeria. That's the implication, and the premium on this problem.
Lawmakers, while condemning the act,
somebody, somewhere, must be held responsible. It couldn't have just been ordinary that these people would drive through the city and come and challenge the security of our airports. For me, it is not only reprehensible, Honorable Speaker, sir, but a display of general ineptitude on the part of the security.
Now, those who used to go to Kaduna by road became challenged because of kidnapping on Abuja-Kaduna road. And then, thank God, the railway came, the train came, Mr. Speaker, and they are being challenged today. Nigerian Railway Corporation had issued a statement that they are going to suspend the activities of the rail along that line. And Mr. Speaker, we were challenged some few days ago for us to have an infraction in the airport, which means that nowhere is safe. So, Mr. Speaker, if our roads are not safe, if our rails are not safe, and if our airport, which is the beginning point of our airways, are not safe, Mr. Speaker, then it calls for us to suspend everything political to begin to address the critical needs of Nigerians.
An amendment on need to include the incident of the bombing of a train carrying over 970 passengers, which was attacked near Rigasa Station, Kaduna, was also unanimously adopted. The motion was adopted when put to vote by Honorable Idris Wasey, Deputy Speaker of the House, at plenary.
Elders from Masa Vihare and Non-Gov Development Association Minder have presented expression of intent and nomination forms for Senate to Governor Samuel Otom. The chairperson presented the forms to Governor Otom in continuation of calls for him to contest for the Benue Northwest senatorial seat in the 2023 general elections. Secretary of the Minder PDP Elders Forum, Charles Tobande, led other members of the forum cutting across Guma, Makodi, Giwa East and Giwa West to make the presentation.
The people of Minder, comprising the 4 local governments of Guma, Makodi, Giwa West, have come together under the umbrella of Minder PDP Elders Forum. And under the umbrella of Minder PDP Elders Forum, we appreciate the good work you have done for Minder people. We also appreciate the good work you have done in Tivland. We appreciate also the good work you have done in Igombaland. Your Excellency, as your tenure is coming to an end, we the people of Minder Elders Forum we feel that after your tenure as a governor, you should not come back and join us and sit at home. So we have decided that we are going to push you forward to go for
me to contest for the senatorial election in Champagne. I remain grateful. Really sure. I am not the honor not to pay by mega people, but I remain grateful. I pray that God will bless you and God will help me. You have led me, the people led me to Jemba. And in Jemba, I received unanimous endorsement. And I remember that the chief of Jemba did declare that I should take the seat and go with it, and no other person will compete with me. If any other person comes, he's not going to be in attendance.
Receiving the forms, the governor said he was humbled by the honor. He stated that the Minder elders led him to solicit support of Gimba for the Senate aspiration. Governor Tom pledged to speak for them without fear of favor, stressing that he will represent their interest. Earlier, other political groups trooped out in large numbers calling for Governor Samuel Otom to accept the farm purchased for him. The Chairman House of Representatives Committee on Police Affairs, Bello Kumu, has summoned the Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Zainab Ahmed, and the Accountant General of the Federation, Ahmed Idris, over the non-implementation of the 20% salary increment for officers and men of the Nigerian Police Force by the federal government. Also invited are the Chairman of the National Salaries, Incomes and Wages Commission, Ikbonta, and the Director General of the Budget Office, Ben Akabueze. The legislation are titled A Bill for Act to Amend the Nigerian Police Act 2020 to regulate the powers of the police to promote effective collaboration between police and other security agencies and to provide for operational framework for community policing in Nigeria. A bill for an act to amend the Firearm Act Cap F28 laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004 to increase fines, provide for strict prison terms and licensing fees, and a bill for an act to provide for establishment of the Nigerian Police Intelligence Institute share in Kwara State. Meanwhile, the Inspector General of Police, Usman Baba, in his presentation said the current initiative by the National Assembly to amend the Police Act 2020, the Firearms Act, as well as the proposed establishment of a Nigerian Police Intelligence Institute would deepen police reform and reposition the police for better performance. A group under the aegis of Mirror of Wisdom Development Foundation for Youth, Women and Children has called on the federal government and state to revamp the nation's educational system for rapid growth, development and nation building. They say poor educational system in Nigeria has plunged the country into a high level of unemployment, and untapped natural resources in the country has become one of the major issues hampering development in the country. The founder of the foundation, Good News Ihemafo, called on the government to bridge the gap between urban and rural, as well as private and public schools, to fix the rot.
The untapped natural resources in the country has become one major challenge Nigeria is still facing without development. This is a serious challenge and threat to national development. The founder of the foundation, Good News Chukwudi Ihemefo, made the call at the paper presentation titled The Shadow Called Nigeria. He stated that there are limitations to the poor utilization of the nation's natural resources, saying there are so many hidden treasures yet to be harnessed. He urged the government to bridge the gap between private and public schools to fix the educational system to give the sector priority.
Youths and everybody in the nation should be able to go to schools, primary and secondary school, take pictures and identify problems in all schools within and across the nation to assist in building this. We believe that if we leave our country in the hand of government alone, we cannot achieve what we really want. And that is our drive today, calling on Nigerians, calling on individuals, calling on patriotic citizens that we need to build our nation, not running out of the country to study, not running out of the country to depend and then be immigrants in these countries.
I think the government should truly look at flying color students who come out in flying colors and encourage them just the way the social media or the social world encourages the bad people in the street.
Also, the book reviewer, Associate Professor Brian Owumere, states that there are so many hidden treasures in the country with over 49 natural resources yet to be tapped. He added that the hidden treasures are where the salvation of Nigeria lies.
Our natural resources, which has been neglected in favor of oil. But from the look of things, it does appear that that is where the salvation of this country lies. There are a lot of, he listed about 49 natural resources that have not been tapped. Initially, most of them were being tapped during the era of tin in Jos, coal in Enugu, but today, nobody is talking about them.
He encouraged the teeming youth to go into artisan mining to extract all the hidden treasures in the country. He said when the educational system is properly revamped, Nigeria will be the leading country in the world.
As the general election inched close, Nigerians expressed their opinion on their expectations from political party and if they can deliver the dividends of democracy. And that's on our Street Views. Take a listen.
Some other party should take over because PDP has been ruling for a very long time. APC has also been ruling for a very long time. And let me just say, they are all based on the same feather. So they should give opportunity to other party to rule.
It's not about political party. It's where do we get a good leader? That's our problem. So we don't care about whether PDP or APC. If you look at the attitude of our politicians, you could see somebody from APC would come to PDP because of his own interest. You see somebody from APC would come to PDP because of his own interest. So our problem is not about the political party, it's about leadership. Anywhere good leader come, it is welcome.
Please, APC, leave us alone. Please, I'm begging you people, leave us alone. Please, not by force. So. They are the same people now, from this party to this party. Let just the youth or young somebody take over. Let all these old men leave us alone. Look at how we are stressing ourselves, suffering. On this hot sun, every day by day. They should leave us alone. Leave us alone. I have my PVC already, Sha. I know what to do with it.
I don't think the party matters. What matters is the person in particular. I don't care about the party. I care about the person itself.
Today, PDP, tomorrow, APC. Me, I don't like all this kind of voila. You don't too suffer for Nigeria. So we need another people may come.
This one will tell you this one. This one will tell you that when they are campaigning, they will promise you so things. They are going to make good, bring good school, food, good road, all this one. Nothing is working in this country.
I think we should try another political party. Maybe we will see difference.
These two parties, they are the same group of people. It's recycling. You understand? They keep coming up. If you do them bad in this party, they will come to the other party. It's the same person. So we need fresh people entirely so that we'll be able to get it, see whether we can get it right.
And to some entertainment news, chart toppers Ed Sheeran and Camila Cabello were among music stars taking to the stage a televised concert aimed to raise funds for Ukrainian humanitarian appeal. Taking place in British city of Birmingham, the lineup for 2-hour concert for Ukraine also featured Ukraine singer Jamala, who won the 2016 Eurovision Song Contest, and music veteran Neil Rogers and Chic, as well as groups Snow Patrol and Manic Street Preachers. A poignant moment in the evening was a performance by young virtuoso violist Alian Bondarako, who played the Verbovaya An old Ukrainian folk song from a basement shelter in Kyiv, along with 94 violists from around the world. Singer Emily Sandy and Gregor Potter, Nicole Benditi, as well as the Gospel Kingdom Choir also performed. Organizers said the concert had raised £12.2 million, which will be donated to Disaster Emergency Committee, an umbrella of UK charity humanitarian appeal for Ukraine.
In love, not knowing what it was, I will not give you up this time. You look perfect tonight.
Displeased fans invaded the main bowl of Moshood Abiola Stadium, destroying everything inside immediately after Nigeria's one draw against Ghana on Tuesday, which ended the Super Eagles' dream of reaching a 7th World Cup appearance in Qatar in November. Despite the Eagles' bright start in the front of a fully packed 6,000 capacity Abuja Stadium, the Black Stars took the lead through captain Thomas Partey in the 11th minute, the Arsenal midfielder unleashing a fierce low drive which squeezed through the diving Francis Nzoho's hand. Ghana qualified for the World Cup thanks to away goal rule after the first leg at Baba Yara Stadium in Kumasi ended goalless.
I mean, I expected us to win. I knew it was going to be difficult, but I still expected us to find the zeal to win at the end of the day. But I mean, this was just a disaster.
We know that these are our geographical rivals, our rivals in the match, so we knew that tensions were going to be high, but I don't think any of us expected it to turn into violence on the pitch, destruction. It's a shame. It really is a shame. And it shouldn't happen like this. Football is, in a match like this, we know somebody will go through, somebody will not. But it is disappointing for us that Nigeria is not the team that's gone through, but it's extra disappointing that Nigerian fans have participated in this type of destruction.
And that's the news brief. For more stories, please follow us at PlusTvAfrica on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram, and do subscribe to our YouTube channel at PlusTvAfrica and PlusTvAfrica Lifestyle. Many thanks for watching. I am Mercy Bokwo. Have a fantastic day. There is no voting on social media. To vote, you would require a permanent voter's card. To get your PVC, visit cvr.inecnigeria.org. Create your account with a valid email address and start the registration process. An activation link will be sent to you. Click on the link and activate your account. Fill out the form, pick and submit a convenient date and time for your biometrics. Print the application slip, which should have your QR code. On the appointed date, go to the nearest INEC office for your biometric capturing. Thereafter, you will get a registration slip to pick your permanent voter's card when ready. Get your PVC today. This message is from PlusTvAfrica.
This is it for upcoming artists to blow in Nigeria.
Welcome to Plus Trending. I am Bookie November, your host, saying thank you for joining us on today's episode.
Welcome back. It's tea time on PlusTvAfrica.
Practice makes perfect. I'm not perfect yet, but I'm a lot better than I used to be.
He's a king. He's entitled to marry 100 if he wants to.
So what are the top decisions that the United States considers necessary that Nigeria must take? I like to think of my interactions as conversations, not interviews. And that's why I say asking questions is both an art and a science. Everyone says in Islam you are allowed to have 4 wives. Is it mandatory? The right question enables answers that educate, inform, clarify, and help you, the viewer, to better understand the issue before making up your mind.
Our goal is to reduce from 10 to 2 days the time it takes to register businesses in Nigeria.
Join me every week on this station, PlusTvAfrica, and gain exclusive access to my conversations. I'm Angela Ajetumobi.
Hello and welcome to What Are You Saying? #Ways, where we talk about topics in the news as it affects us all. I am Osayome Saleh. Elsie Godwin. And we have a full house.
Hi, people.
Hi, Elsie.
How are you?
Why did you do that?
What did I
That's
do?
so unfair. You didn't even allow
It's part of the
She
show,
does
don't worry.
it all the time. To be candid, she does it all the time.
Alero.
What did I do?
You didn't do anything. You didn't do. They didn't cut you.
It's good to be on the show.
Yes, it is. It is good to be here.
So how are you? Who are we starting with? Isi, Alero, I've not seen you this week. How are you ladies doing?
Very well, thank you. And it's been a while. I've been on Tuesday, so
yes,
I'm happy to be here this on week?
Tuesday. No, I've not seen you this week. Alero, how are you?
I'm fine. Oh, I'm doing very well. It's been a while, Abby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think I was here. I was just only on Tuesday last week as well.
Our latest MBA graduate.
Oh, Jesus. Yes. I finally graduated from Nexford University.
You done did it.
Yes, MBA in e-commerce. Thank you.
You did do it, girl.
I'm still on the way.
It feels good, though. All the assignments, projects, deadlines.
It's not easy.
Awesome.
It's not easy. By the way, in case you are looking for somebody, She's available.
For what?
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
I'm just saying.
For what now?
Is it easy to have an MBA?
Okay. Oh,
Pelzing
for work
to the wife material.
Yeah, that increase. Is that what we're talking about? Alright.
Elsie, how are you?
Do you want to know how I'm?
Yes, please. How are you, darling?
Elsie is just one big wahala.
I'm very fine.
All that drama to just say I'm very fine, thank you.
I don't have fuel. So I was driving with the mindset that, I mean, it's a normal day, like we're back to what it used to be, and suddenly I realized that I can't get fuel anywhere.
There's a queen.
I don't understand, and I'm almost on reserve. So if you don't see me on the show tomorrow,
you'll be on the show.
It's Buhari.
Eh? All right, so today we want to talk about something very interesting. Oh wow, time has.
Yeah.
We're discussing sexual assault for men, right? And you know, because it seems like all the time when there's an assault, women don't pay attention when it has to do with the guy. I mean, if it was the other way, if they had flipped the coin of what had happened with that musician that was performing on stage and his genitals were grabbed. I mean, if it was a woman, we will not hear the last of it.
Oh,
so
yes.
we're discussing. Like, so men, don't come and say, you people don't always, talk about. We are talking about you people now. I mean, I have plenty of things to tell you people. All right, so here's what we found as today's quote. You're not a victim for sharing your story. You are a survivor, setting the world on fire with your truth. And you never know who needs your light, your warmth, and raging courage. So for all the men out there, we're hoping that you begin to speak up when it comes to like assault or sexual harassment. You
are a survivor.
Yeah, you are. So the Nigerian singer Michael Adebayo, popularly known as Ruga, was on Sunday assaulted by a female fan who grabbed him inappropriately while he was performing on stage. And the singer, who could not hide his anger at the incident, walked off the stage. So it's our ladies' night out, and EC, Alero, LC, and I are discussing sexual assault, and we're asking, do people really pay attention when a man gets assaulted? And when we open our phone lines, we really love to hear from the men. We'd love to hear from women as well, but we want to hear about, your experience with sexual assault. But first, let's go on a break to see what we found in the news.
Businesses in Africa can be very challenging. In Nigeria, it is particularly intimidating, and successful builders have learned how to navigate a hostile environment to unlock opportunities. But one
everywhere, the piano has a long history of bringing music to life with its delicate sound and beautiful resonance. But did you know that there's a holiday dedicated to pianos? Well, today, Piano Day is an annual worldwide event founded by a group of like-minded people that takes place on the 88th day of the year in 2022. It's today, that's the 29th of March, because of the number of keys on the instruments being celebrated. Now, World Piano Day has been designed to celebrate this incredible instrument, which has brought many of us so much joy over the years. No matter whether you play the piano yourself or you have an appreciation for this sort of music, we can all appreciate that listening to quality pianists is nothing but pure joy. So, happy World Piano Day. Yay! Who loves the piano here? Who plays the piano?
I don't know how to play, but I love the piano.
So I took lessons. I was taking lessons as a child until Sharia crisis started and they burnt my piano that my mom bought for me. Because I took the piano to church so that they take me lessons. And so when the crisis broke, my piano was part of what got affected. So they burnt it in the church. So ever since I didn't
and
buy
that was the end of piano lessons.
I had kids, and my son is amazing with the
keyboard.
The one that the Catholics use, that they have the leg pressing, and I can't remember the name now. Yeah, so beautiful, and he's self-taught. My children are all musically inclined. They play piano.
So who did they get that from?
No, honestly, we are both actually musically inclined, because my husband also plays the flute, and he also, most of his self-taught. So I think
anytime I hear about the piano, the only person that actually I think about 3 people actually come to my head, and that is Ray Charles. That's number 1, and Okay, 2 actually, and Alicia Keys.
How about Stevie Wonders?
Stevie Wonders, Come See Come Sa, you know, but more
Alicia
of Ray
Keys.
Charles and Alicia Keys.
All right, so we
They
have
made
a
it
lot
quite
to
interesting
talk
for
about
us.
in the news. I'm not sure who I'm. Let me start with EC first, then
Okay.
I'll come to you, Lero.
Okay, I have a tale of woe, and this is due to the state of the country, insecurity, and kidnapping crisis that is ravaging the country. And the headline that caught my attention is, we've kidnapped children from Lagos to Ibadan for rituals. So this was by an individual who is a kidnapper, and in an attempt to abduct a 4-year-old child from a school at Omole Estate, phase 1, the young man was caught. So his name is, let me try and get it out. His name is Kayode Olafisoye, and he's a 43-year-old man, and he's part of a syndicate that came from Ibadan to kidnap children in Lagos State. Now, he said he has never been to the area of Lagos State, but he has been kidnapping children around Lagos State. And he actually goes for children between the ages of 4 to 7 years old because they are most vulnerable. And he has a substance which he gives to them that makes them quiet and in a state of haze when he actually kidnaps them. And he had a partner who actually escaped in the process, but of course when he was caught, he actually said that he sometimes uses these children for rituals. So he sells them
as a
for...
parent, your child is going to school and you don't even know if the child is coming back or not. Like,
and he
this
sells
world
these
is
children.
traumatic.
The one that really got to me is that he sells these children for as low as 8K the pass, or as low as 8 to 20K for the pass.
For what?
Now imagine if the woman who has this child must have looked for this child for years, and this kidnapper
even if you did not look
actually
for the child,
kidnapped. Yeah,
just
no,
the
I'm just
cost
going.
of even
I'm just
antenatal
going-
alone,
I
sef.
understand, but I'm just saying, if that's the only child that woman has and was kidnapped, look at children that go to school every day. They walk to school back and forth. The vulnerability of these children who are in public schools that walk to school. These are little ways that they can actually catch these children and make use of these children. So there is so much that the government can do. There is so much we can do.
But there was
as a
something very
community.
profound about the video you shared, which is
Yeah.
what I think I'd like to also draw attention to most parents. Please,
Yeah.
when you have your kids in the car, my car, I'm blessed with the kind of car that it starts on its own. I can take the key
Absolutely,
out
take your key
and
out.
lock the door. But so at least if you have older kids, please tell them to press. I always tell my kids anytime
lock
when they were a
it.
lot younger,
Yeah.
if I leave them, I just want to pick up something, I say, please lock, because I always leave the car running.
Yeah.
Lock it from inside. Only when you see me, then
That's
you
when
open,
you
it.
open it.
Because there was something profound, because when the young man jumped into the car and was about to drive off,
Exactly.
yes, she was holding the key. She had
already
removed
turned
the
up
key
the
from the
engine of the
ignition.
car.
So
Yeah.
imagine if she left the key
He would have
on the
zoomed
ignition,
off with
he
the
would have
children.
zoomed off with the child. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So please, cooperation, right?
Yes, cooperation, sorry. And NRC has suspended operations along the Abuja-Kaduna route after terrorists blew a truck and attacked a train Monday night. That was yesterday. Dear passengers, due to unforeseen circumstances, train operations along the Abuja-Kaduna route has been temporarily suspended. Further communications will be given in due course. The NRC tweeted on Tuesday, which was this morning. Terrorists attacked a train en route to Kaduna State on Monday evening, with many travelers feared abducted. The terrorists reported bombing the truck and improvised explosive devices, which forced the train to derail. I mean, this is really so scary that we're having issues within our own major roads with the cab hailing services, and now they have actually moved to the
railway services.
Like, I really don't know what else Nigerians can actually do again, because it seems like the moment you move, like step your foot out of your house, there's always one chaos or the other.
This event is a follow-up of the event that happened at the Kaduna airport.
Yes.
I mean, my mom literally landed, when was this now? She landed on a Saturday. The next day in the morning, we were hearing that
was when it happened.
gunmen went to the airport, you know, to at the runway. In fact, they shot one of the security guards or something.
Yes.
That was the first attempt. Now for those that know the Kaduna-Abuja Expressway, Kaduna-Abuja Expressway was relatively safe, but all of a sudden there was so much cases of kidnapping and all of that. So the safest way for us that have families in Kaduna to go to Kaduna is fly down to Abuja and take the train from Abuja to Kaduna. So this already, you know, I mean, is it that they're trying to paralyze the economy of that state? Because nobody wants to have anything to do with that state. As we are talking now, the only person keeping this Kaduna transaction is my father. He has refused to, because he just loves the place. And it's not like Kaduna is a peaceful place. It's not somewhere that, you know, yeah, we had pockets of violence growing up, but now seeing this like repeatedly, right, it just breaks my heart. And it just leads me to my story, because I think, again, when we count what we are losing with the spate of insecurity,
yes.
I don't know how the people in government and the people that are supposed to be fighting, how they're able to sleep, right?
I think that's the only part I want to touch on, because I don't understand how something like this has happened, because this is a federal issue and the president is not giving speeches. He's not responding to anything. It seems like he doesn't even know that anything is happening. I know, like, if this is a marriage now, you say you are sounding like a nagging wife, because we've said this over and over again. But it still needs to be said.
It's heartbreaking, because how much
lives
value do we
have been
have
lost,
for human life
people
in this
are
country?
allegedly kidnapped, like you rightly said, right? So why exactly can't you even just say, and even if it's just a 2 minutes statement?
Let's just know.
You know, so let me talk about my story. Is the doctor, right? It says tweet mourns medical doctor killed in the Abuja Kaduna train terror attack. So this young doctor, very beautiful girl, Chinelo, Megafo, she had been shot in her stomach, and she tweeted and said, "I'm on a train, I have been shot, please pray for me." That was the story. And of course, the next day, news broke that she didn't make it, right? So what really broke my heart with this tweet is, again, I mean, I'd like to throw this to Elsie, because you are the social media person, right? Where do we draw the line when it comes to, or digital marketer, sorry, I'm sorry, darling. You know, where do we draw the line when it comes to issues of, right, clout chasing? Because where did it even come from?
Yeah.
Somebody said, "Please pray for me, I've been shot." And some people that I don't understand, maybe they're suffering from mental health. No, this is not mental health. This is actually, I don't even know what, I'm trying to hard not to use a strong word. How can somebody say that I have been shot and all you can think of is that this person is trying to clout chase?
Like, even if...
Right? Where do we draw the line in all of these things?
No, not Elsie.
You know, where do we draw the line?
Right, Elsie.
You know, where do we draw the line? Because I'm trying to find, Debola Williams now posted on social media, and he was talking. You needed to have seen some of the tweets and that people tweeted. Like, people have debased mind. Somebody actually tweeted, "Are you dead now?"
What?
Replying to her message that said that I'm on a train, I have been shot. The person tweeted, "Whoever you are, you will not die well."
May posterity judge that person.
He says, "Are you dead now?" How can you say that? Right? How can you say that?
I mean, how often do people go online to say, I'm being robbed, or I'm dying? And even, let's assume that, okay, these people are not, but at least try as much as you can to empathize for that few.
Empathy.
Somebody now says, "Oni Iro," or
she like a liar.
Do you understand? What's the meaning of that? Somebody now says, "Send us pictures."
So I mean, this is like beyond, okay, Elsie.
No, go ahead.
He said, then somebody now said something. This was the final one that just broke my this thing. That you have strength to type.
Can you imagine? If she hadn't, tweeted,
nobody would have known what even caused her death or what happened to her.
My question is this.
And my father to go and bring them in the den of the crisis. None of us slept. We couldn't even eat. Everybody we were on standstill. They threw an axe to my mother through the car. It landed on her thigh. She had internal bleeding because she was trying to go and rescue her children. Somebody now tweets that I have been shot, And you are asking for pictures.
But do you know what this has?
Have we lost our humanity in this country?
It's crazy.
That's where I was going to.
This is also
this
what
has
happens.
actually depicted what we are as a people,
As a human
being. Our social, emotional intelligence, for empathy, for feeling for another human being, it's practically dead.
Just
and
like
Twitter is not even a healthy place in the first place.
It's so saying that she was short and you should help. And then it's the same incident that would have happened if you were passing on the road and you see somebody.
If I had seen comments like, where is your current location? Do you understand? How can we get, where's
So I also want to believe that
Come on.
there were comments like that, but as us typical humans,
we focus on the negative
focus on
comments.
the negative part. I want to believe that
No,
we
there
had
will be comments,
more positive
empathetic
comments than this negative comment. That's one.
But it shouldn't have come up in the
hold
first
on
place.
now. Of course,
That's
but
what she's
in a
saying.
gathering of
People will be
100 people,
people.
there must be mad people.
Yeah.
So, like I always say, social media is the bigger picture or a magnified picture of who we really are.
Exactly.
So it's not you won't be expecting the different attitude on social media. It's human beings. They are not bots. So if we are not, like you said, we've lost our humanity. Do you expect us to now have humanity when we're on social media? It's not going to happen. But I just wanted to point to what she said when she raised the issue of the person who was what? Did you say
last week?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Okada men that were killed by.
It reminded me of a story that a lot of us shared around on WhatsApp, and when the true picture came up, at least I was able to also reshare what the true picture is, which was the case of the dispatch rider who had
a child,
you know, and the story went round and said,
was trying to kidnap
that's what
a child.
they do, they kidnap, they use dispatch riding, blah, blah, blah. And then after investigations, police said, oh no. The parents said,
mother actually
you
gave
know,
the
but
child.
that was not the case, right? I mean, I'm going somewhere based on we are in a situation whereby sensationalization is just what sells. And like you said, cloud chasing. I can't begin to give references now because honestly, I wasn't prepared for the show, right? But there are cases where people have chased clout with things that you wonder, why would you even think
we have to draw
about
the line.
it? So like you said, we have to draw the line. I also want to hold on to the fact that we had more people that were sympathetic. It's just like how you put up a post, everybody's telling you, oh, you're beautiful, you're beautiful, you're beautiful.
And one person
but
just
when
comes.
one person comes to tell you what is wrong with you,
let's
why is your
believe
leg
that.
bent like this? That is the one you will
now focus on.
So no, that is not, this whole comments that are being amplified is not the bigger picture of Nigerian youth or the true picture of Twitter in Nigeria, because we have used Twitter to save a lot of lives. We have used Twitter to raise funds. We have used the same Twitter to do a lot of good that I can begin to mention right now. So it's like a wide range of parents. They have phones and then they have social media. Ask them, what kind of comments do you drop? What kind of pages do you follow? Who are your role models? We cannot now leave those things to, the owners of the platform.
On this note, I would like to say or add that, you know,
your employers are watching.
If you don't have anything nice to say,
just shut up.
Don't say anything.
Must she drop a comment?
Zip it. Drop a comment. Zip
your mouth.
Just one comment.
No, this one is not. You're not talking now.
What's
it called? Clip your fingers if you don't have any
Hold
good thing to
yourself
type.
from
I'm
typing.
telling you.
Really.
All right. So on that note, to take a break, we want to talk about sexual assaults for men. Right? Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Hey, what's up, guys? You're welcome to another edition of Plus Event, and I remain your host, Ifeoluwa Oshukeye.
Your absence isn't an excuse anymore, as Plus Event is all you need, as we bring you the glitz, the glamour, and loads of fun.
Oh, definitely. No question. He's a living legend.
Oh, God forbid, Holy Ghost fire, I know.
I just want to be blown away. I want to be wild. This is 11 years of doing it.
I'm surrounded by so much positivity.
No, it's okay.
Yo, what's up, my people? It's your boy Starboy Terry. You're watching
Plus Event on Plus TV.
Stay glued to Plus TV Africa every Saturday and Sunday, 4:30 p.m. West African time.
All right, thanks for staying with us. Now, according to Counseling Center, in legal terms, sexual assault is any sexual contact that is against a person's will or without consent. And this includes situations where force, violence, or weapon are used, as well as situations where the victim is too intoxicated or scared to give consent. Now, sexual assault can happen to anyone, no matter your age, sexual orientation, or gender identity. Men and boys who have been sexually assaulted or abused may have many of the same feelings and reactions as other survivors of sexual assault, but they may also face some additional challenges because of the social attitude and stereotypes about men and masculinity. Now, do people pay attention when a man gets sexually assaulted, or they just shrug it off? Now, please let us share what you have to say. Remember, you can join the conversation. Send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 081-803-4663. You can also tweet at us at WaysHowAfrica1 with the hashtag WaysShow. I don't know if we'll have that video. I mean, if anybody had seen that video, but if not,
it's not just masculinity, it's toxic masculinity, because masculinity is not a bad thing. It's when the toxicity comes into it that it becomes a problem.
Okay.
On
that note, so I don't know if they saw, anybody saw the video that went viral over the weekend, right? So a young boy was performing on stage. Now, you see, this sexual assault, when it comes to men, right? I think men are the biggest problem of themselves, because I don't know, maybe it is their orientation around it. Because if a man walks up to me and grabs my breast, the whole world will not hear it, because I don't understand for the life of me. Because I was talking to a man, a fellow man, and he said the girl was not hot enough. So, like, if she was hot enough, he would not have been angry. Like, how can you see sexual assault and give it a name that the guy is not man enough or something? Because, you know why I'm saying this, Alera? Because most times when women don't talk about men's sexual assault, they say women don't like to talk about it. But the truth is that men themselves do not even see it. You know, they take pride in things like that. How can you take pride in things like that?
So from the angle of that person that you were speaking with, I think he doesn't see it that way, and he can never understand it. So there are some men, like, if you notice, if you watch the video, Ruga was irritated at on the spot, because it was like, I don't even, how can it even be consensual? I'm singing and performing a song and you're grabbing me and touching me. It can't be pleasant. So any man that sees that video and starts to shame Ruga that he's not a guy man, or the person is not, I'm sorry to say, but the person is not okay. Because the truth of the matter is that I'm not saying this has happened to Ruga before. What if this thing is a trigger for him? Because he's a musician, right? He's on stage performing, which means that he has to be A-okay mentally. But look at what happened. That alone, even though people might... So the way we're making noise about women, let's also make noise about men, because there's so many male that have gone through this sexual assault, either directly or indirectly, that actually really needs people to actually, speak up for them as well, because it's annoying. It's really, really annoying. I want somebody to... Wait, let me hold on.
If I may step in, how does a man get assaulted? First things first, they feel that, oh, he's a man, he doesn't need to feel bad about it. Go. And at the end of the day, what happens? They see it as normal. At least they've been able to experience the sexual...
They see it as a thing of pride.
As a thing of pride. So they do not say a thing about it. Instead, they actually indulge in it over and over and over again. Now, not knowing that they have psychological issues as they go along. But my sincere apologies to whoever you were speaking to, but I think there was a level of perversion in his life.
Sexually harassed and sexually abused.
Yes.
You understand? But they never talk about it because
they repress it and they feel that it is okay.
It's normal. Instead, they take pride that I started having sex since I was 5.
Thank you.
How can you say that?
How can you say that? So no means no, and it still comes back to our culture. But we feel that, oh, the man should start experiencing this thing early. He should know that he's a man. When things like this come your way, that means you are a bad guy. Meanwhile, you're actually being assaulted, taken advantage of. I have been in an environment where a boy of 5 was assaulted by his auntie. Now, when he saw something like that, what do you think the boy will be like when he grows up? That's the end of the story.
So we have a lot of randy men everywhere.
Yes. Aside from that, psychologically, that boy will become depressed. He wouldn't even know what's wrong with him. Yeah. Why do you think we have so much drug abusers these days? It's part of it. Everybody is trying to repress something, let go of something. So
let me hear Elsie.
The toll continues.
This year has actually said really what I would have loved to say, because I mean, it's interesting to even see Ruga's face, because this is the first time I'm seeing his face.
I don't even know him. What
you know, I've heard the name. You definitely will know his song.
Oh, okay.
So again, I'll just take it back just to stay away from a lot of negativity now, is that we're at an age where you can have the song that is going around the whole world. I remember when CK had the most streamed song globally, and we don't even know what he looks like or how he looks like. So I just wanted to look at it from that angle and to say, I'm just seeing Ruga for the first time. I'm in my head, I'm wondering, why is your hair so pink? Like, what's going on? But like you rightly said, a lot of men were introduced to sexual relationship through abuse. Yeah. And at least I know that some of them now can actually come out to say, oh yes, I was abused, and they understand that it's abuse. But a lot of them also do not understand that they were abused. They just see it as, oh, I am a man. I'm supposed to be able to do. I'm supposed to be ready. I'm supposed to. It is wrong, because I know so many men
that will walk away.
That will. Then you would not just sit down and think that if somebody comes to grab you in an offensive way, then it is because you are a man, and then you should also perform. What exactly are you performing for? Who? Right? It's also about the upbringing, how even the whatever we call sex education in parenting is tailored towards the woman. Oh, you have to be this way. You are the egg that is not supposed to be broken, you know. But the man, Lord Jade, Lord Shere, go and play. Like, and it's also, I think we had this conversation on Sunday as well, where we're talking about the Twitter space, and somebody mentioned it. He was asking if it's because men do not necessarily have to carry or bear the consequences for a lot of things. So when it comes to pregnancy, the woman carry. If it comes to, in fact, this was a guy that raised it, that even with STIs, women are even more susceptible to getting those STIs. So the consequences for them
is much more on women. So that's why they don't see it.
They don't even see. So if that's why, from even our parenting point of view, if family thinks that, oh, we don't even need to talk a lot about it, because even if he goes out there and do anything, he's fine. He's not stopping his education. It's not making him coming home to become a shame on us, because it is the woman who got pregnant that her family would be seen as,
okay, Elsie,
oh,
before
you know,
they
train
come at
and
you,
wear.
Don't make it about women. But let us come back.
I'm just making it clear that
this might be the reason.
Not even the reason. It is the reason. They were abused as introduction into sex, and they're also in a society where they feel like whatever they do, just do. Like your life is, in fact, your life is not structured. It's just anyhow. Just do as you like.
Okay. On that note. Let's take a break.
Let's drink water.
I want to open the phone line. I just want to hear from men, you know. If somebody walks up to you and comes and grabs you or whatever, because somebody told me that if they grab it, that the only time he considers it as assault is when she does not follow through after the grabbing.
I think he's probably, he has a face in his imagination.
Let's go on a break.
That's what he probably does.
We'll be right back. We want to open our phone lines.
What we do not understand, we will stigmatize.
What you can see is the remaining of the tanker that exploded.
It's also equally confessed.
Sexual assault, and we're asking, do people really pay attention when a man gets assaulted? Please let us hear what you have to say. Remember, you can join the conversation. Send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 081-803-84663. You can also tweet at us at WayShowAfrica1 with the hashtag WayShow. Our phone line is also now open to call. The number is 007749. Remember the rules. Turn off the volume of your television set. The number to call again is 07025007749. All right, so I mean, when a guy tells you that if you grab it, as long as you are ready to go through, it means that he sees it as nothing.
Yeah.
He has absolutely no reason to see that is assault. That is where me I even have a problem. That you do not consider that, okay, I'm on my own. And that's why a lot of men condone nonsense and says the lady seduced me and all of that. Right? If somebody comes up to you, you didn't have the intention of having anything to her and with her, and she comes and she grabs your private area, shouldn't you say no? It's unacceptable. Why do most men accept it and now say next thing they're in bed, they now say, oh, she seduced me and all of that, right? So, again, it's annoying because again, when we talk about sexual assault or sexual harassment or sexual whatever, and we're always focusing on women, they will call and start saying that men get harassed too. But do you even decide, do you even see it?
Yes.
Do you see it as an assault?
I remember there was a time, I think I was like about 2 years ago, and he was there for 1 year. Then she transferred him to one of the northern states, and he was there for another year, all because he refused. So men go through these things either at work or even on general notes. And like Elsie said, for a man to say no to sex is always, a little bit, it sounds very alien, it sounds very strange.
They'll say you're not a man.
But the truth is, there are young boys or even adults that are still working with the traumas that they've been through right from when they were younger. Like their nanny, you should be treated. Don't let anybody.
Right?
Or some other people.
You understand the gravity of what it is, because someone was saying that, but he's a musician, he comes to the territory.
Why are they saying that the men should go and ensure their...
Why would you even say it's a musician, he comes to the territory? It's absolutely wrong.
It's
because
totally wrong.
No,
but you know what, let's take a call. Hold on, ladies. Let me take a first caller. Joseph, I believe, from Kwara State. Thank you for calling.
Good evening. How is everything?
Thank you, Joseph.
Thank you. You are welcome.
Thank you so much.
I missed you for 2 days.
Thank you.
Okay. See, the topic of today, I'm the victim of such. I'm telling you. I could remember when I was young, a little boy like that, between the age of 10 and there was also a program, Tale of the Moonlight, that she would not allow me to watch it. So I always forced to do whatever she wants every blessed day. Sometimes she will even ask me not to even go to school. Sometimes she will even ask me, I swear to God, she will even ask me to lick a private part. But I was young, I don't even know what I'm able to do then. But later, when I now grew up to the age of 17 or 18, I'm now enjoying it myself.
You see it? Thank you.
I'll be chasing her up and down. So a parent really needs to educate their children about the sexual awareness or something like that.
Someone who is really sharing, just to tell you that we are not making this woman or an older woman assaulting